with the hypopigmentation, but we'll talk about it later on. Then what you want to do in the short term healing, you want to keep the area clean and avoid infections until the scabs are formed. That is key. Tell your client not to ever pick up the scabs themselves and let them fall off themselves. How about the so if infections are contracted soon after the treatment, they could increase the likelihood of scarring, and this is true. It's happened, but only very rarely. Picking the scabs can cause scars and especially hypopigmentation and skin tightening. There are two problems that we found, because in skin tightening using the sport modes, what you'll find is when you have the scabs, the area is itchy. So you tend to try and scratch it. It's a bad thing. And also, if you use certain makeup products.
Any questions?
No, it's fine. Any questions? Anything? Doubts? Nothing? We're clear? Okay, good. Privilege for us to be here today. This is the where we're going to talk about what we're going to be doing throughout these days. So today we're going to talk about theory, what's behind voltaic arcing, plasma, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to go into detail about everything, because now I'll give you a bit of different background about myself and how we started doing it. This plasma thing is extremely important, especially in the aesthetic industry. To give you a slight background, I started looking at it in 2012, and this was sold in Italy to surgeons, dermatologists, cosmetic clinics of high caliber. And there's a very good reason for it. We're going to go into detail why in a presentation. It's because it can do many things. You can actually, they actually advertise this treatment as a replacement for eyelid surgery. They actually advertise this for a number of years in Italy, and they've done it so successfully. Now, this has spread the world over because it's effective, is relatively inexpensive, is very easy to perform, it's got very few contraindications. So especially eyelid tightening, but also you've got a tool that performs better than certain lasers for tattoo removal, permanent makeup removal, for many other applications. If you look at moles removal, for example, before this was used, then we had only what? Lasers, CO2 lasers, then we had the scalpel and so on. Things that only, oh yes, the cryotherapy. So things that mainly only doctors could actually do. But this allows you to, gives you extremely good results without you being a doctor. This is why it spread so quickly, and people are actually crying out for it in the aesthetic industry. And especially in South Africa, you're very lucky because there's no regulation. As to say, you girls can actually do it, and you can compete head to head with doctors. So in the UK and Europe, we've had this fight between beauty therapists or beauty practitioners, as we'd like to call them, and doctors, because the legislation allowed us to do pretty much whatever. Now they're trying to lobby, they lobbied legislation, so they tried to get the beauty therapists not to do certain things and so on. But I'm not going to touch into that. This is only European market. The US is even worse. Now, so I'll try to give you as much information as possible. We have built voltaicplasma.com, and we've now done it since 2015, and we keep adding more and more content onto it. Our YouTube channels keep keeps getting more and more videos, instructional videos. We seen that there is a lot of lack in education, and this is where we try to help everybody. I'm not talking about the business model, but this is actually working for us. As you'll see, I'm not going to sell you anything. All I want to do is give you as much knowledge as possible during these days. So today is going to be for sort of theory. You can ask any question you like, and I mean any. Only do it now, now while we do the talk. This is extremely important because whatever you have doubts about, other people may have as well. So we're going to actually help each other out by asking these questions openly here. Don't think there's any stupid questions. There's only stupid people that don't ask questions. Because asking questions is very, very important. Even if you think it's basic, it's stupid, it's very important that you ask it. There may be people that haven't actually done it before, they're very new to it, and it doesn't matter. Ask those questions. There may be people who have looked at the videos, they've done this before. Ask us questions. Any question regarding this sort of treatments, please do ask it. Write them down during the presentation. If you want to stop me, please stop anytime you like and ask the questions. It's very, very important. It's going to be interactive because this is the best way that we found is you get involved and you learn as much as possible. Then I think it's tomorrow after tomorrow and hopefully Wednesday. We're going to do loads of treatments. You can participate, and then I think you can also start playing with the device yourselves. And again, if you have more questions, then you can ask us those questions. On our voltaicplasma.com website, you've got loads of videos. We are the one of the very few companies that not only gives you the before and after, gives you healing progression, and also videos every treatment that we do. So whenever we get results back, we publish them. And this is extremely useful because that gives you reference experience. All this information is free of charge. All you have to do is go on voltaicplasma.com and start browsing. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. So our business model is very different. Nobody's doing it, so we thought about doing it, and it ought to be done. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to structure today in a very weird way. I'm only going to try and give you new information presentations I haven't actually done before, or haven't given before. And then I'm going to give a few presentations, the most successful ones, because some presentations have been very successful online, and I think are going to be, you're going to find them useful. So we're going to start with the first one, which is about one of the most important things about these treatments, which is the aftercare. By the way, if you don't understand my accent, I'll speak Italian. Okay.
Sorry, if I can, if not understanding because of the accent, maybe of consoles and then not, please just say, let us repeat it, okay?
Yeah.
Just
for those watching online, it's just going to be subtitles in English, right? Okay. Now, why aftercare is very important. We've done this treatment since 2012, and pretty much the problems that we found is due to poor aftercare. This is why we know it's very, very important. Aftercare is fundamental. It's very, very important because whenever we found any worries, any side effects, sometimes even scars, was mainly due to aftercare. And I'll give you a few stories about that later on. So sorry, I haven't actually seen this presentation as much as being done for myself. I'm very lazy these days. So Aftercare is more important than the way the aesthetic treatment is carried out. And this is very, very important because there could be infections happening throughout the recovery period. Remember, with voltaic plasma or plasma electrical arcing, whatever you'd like to call it, people call it plasma for marketing reasons mainly. But when you experience it, you realize that you're burning the skin. This is a quite simple burn. So whenever you have burns, you want to make sure that the area heals really well. And it doesn't matter whether it's, you do it with electrical arcing or you do it with CO2 lasers or other lasers. You're actually dealing with a skin burn. So this is why it's very, very important. You can get infections and so on. So there's two types of aftercare. The short-term aftercare, where, so there's a T missing there. I've just changed it. Yes, I forgot about the T. I'm a bit dyslexic. So basically, the short-term aftercare is when the area is healing up to when the scabs are formed fully. Because this is the period when you can have the client to develop infections. And this is one of the most critical part of the aftercare. We advise, we've got on our websites, especially the beautytech.com, the aftercare advice sheet published on our website, so you can use that, but we'll give you more information about that in a second. And that is mainly for the short-term aftercare. Very, very important is to avoid infections and get those very nice scabs. If they form, because they don't form all the time, it depends how you perform the treatment and what type of treatment you're performing, that these scabs, if they form quite quickly. They don't always form. If you perform a very light treatment and skin tightening light treatment, they may even they may not even form at all, and that's fine. There's been other devices on the market, supposedly made in Europe, where they say that after their treatment, they do not, you do not have scabs. Well, you do still have scabs anyway. But they, again, remember short-term aftercare, very important. Why is that? Why is the short-term aftercare very important? Very good, very good. So, and then we've got the long-term aftercare. And the long-term aftercare is when the scabs are formed and then they fall off. If, again, once again, if the scabs form and they fall off, but after the end of the short-term aftercare, up until normally 2 to 3 months, the skin regenerates. It's still subject to change. So what happens is, if there is sun exposure, even indirect UV light exposure, you can get, what do you call it, hyperpigmentation. That is something to be avoided as much as possible. There's always a likelihood of developing hyperpigmentation. The likelihood increases in countries where the sunlight is quite unforgiving. Say, for example, in the UK, we don't have much hyperpigmentation. We have more relative cases of hypopigmentation, which are more due to the short-term aftercare. We see short-term aftercare, poor short-term aftercare when the scabs do not form quite quickly. And this is an indication of poor short-term aftercare. And we'll show you how to try and minimize those things.
Can I just put a spoke in the wheels here? And I'm sure all the girls know because we're obviously the majority are in the beauty industry, well, I'm sure we all are. But we know that it doesn't have to be direct sunlight. UV and UVB come through our glass windows of our motor cars. You can even get it on a clouded day, completely clouded day, sun exposure. So it doesn't mean I'm going to go down to the beach and tan. It means protect your skin against this light that's around us. You know what I mean? That sun, that protection is imperative.
It's both direct and indirect sun exposure. So it's very important to understand that. What we're saying here is that even on a cloudy day, depending on where you are in the world, there's still UV light around. So although you don't feel it, there is UV light, and that does cause hyperpigmentation. We've seen it loads in Cyprus, seen in Singapore, and those part of, what do you call it, Colombia as well, where they've got our device. We've got devices all the world over. So in these countries where the sun is unforgiving, we find more cases of hyperpigmentation. So especially in South Africa, girls, it's very, very important that you put something in your consent forms, you give out the aftercare recommendations as a sheet of paper or something. If you're unsure, on our beautytech.com website, we have it. You can actually copy, paste, adapt it to whatever, but we're going to show you what we've done later on. And also, the long-term aftercare dictates when you can repeat the treatment. If since the beginning, people say, well, you can actually do an eyelid tightening treatment after a month, we say no, because we've got the experience. Normally, you would see a good recovery after 2 months, sometimes even 3 months. And if the treatment is done harshly, then even longer than that. We're talking about 6 months or even longer. So the long-term aftercare really dictates when you can really perform a new treatment. Say, for example, if you've, have you ever had any eyelid tightening treatment here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, good. And I had it a number of times as well. What we get all the time is the first eyelid tightening treatment was okay. I mean, it's not that painful. But when you go for the second one, especially if you haven't waited 3 months, it's quite painful, even with numbing products. And this is because the area is still changing. Your skin is still in the recovery phase, and you actually feel it. It's a bit red, it's a bit sensitive, that skin, because it's new skin. So you got to wait. So that's why it's quite important. So in the short-term aftercare, you've got to keep the area clean. Now, we put Dettol there because it's got an ingredient called benzalkonium chloride. You'll find this information on our website. This picture is all taken from our website anyway. And this is one of the best antiseptic. So we have actually, I've tried it on myself. I've been the guinea pig for a number of years now. I've tried even not using it. I've been a naughty boy, haven't used it. Still fine. The point is, this is used in order to avoid infections. In this type of treatment, the eyelid tightening or the skin tightening, unless you put dirt on the area, it's very unlikely that you've got infections. In the thousands and thousands of treatments that we have seen and performed, we haven't seen one single case, of infection of upper eyelid tightening, after upper eyelid tightening. Not one. Lower eyelid tightening, skin tightening, not one. We've seen other problems. The problem that we've seen is with hypopigmentation, but we'll talk about it later on. Then so what you want to do in the short term healing, you want to keep the area clean and avoid infections until the scabs are formed. That is key. Tell your client not to ever pick up the scabs themselves and let them fall off themselves. How about the scabbing process and so on? Do not worry. We've got loads of case studies on our website, so you can actually see that in advance if you want to have reference experience. We have documented all these things. Also, another thing that we don't mention is the swelling, especially after upper eyelid tightening, is very important, because if you don't tell your customers that they're going to be swollen after upper eyelid tightening, they're going to get worried, and they're going to go run to their doctors. We even had people going to accident emergencies. They haven't even had that. There wasn't any problem. They weren't actually told what would have actually happened after eyelid tightening, there's always a degree of swelling. And that is important that you tell your customers. Why does it tie in with the aftercare? Is if they worry, they don't have direct contact or trust in yourself, then what happens is they go somewhere else. They go somewhere else and start giving them medications, products are non-sterile, then complication may arise. If they actually do nothing, even if they're worried, they do nothing, they're going to be fine. They're going to be fine. The problem that we've seen with upper eyelid tightening, lower eyelid tightening, and skin tightening using plasma is people got worried, put the wrong products on their skin, because what you do in the, I was trying to go back, okay. What you do in the short-term aftercare, you want to avoid infections. And the problem with the products that you find out there is that they're not sterile. So when you put makeup on, you put certain creams on, they're not designed, they're not made to be sterile and to be put on area of the skin that have got burns on, and that is subject to infections. So this is the main reason to keep your customer very well informed about what's going to happen. Especially they should have your contact quite easily. If you use WhatsApp, please use it. Communicate with your client if they've got any worries. Because if you've seen a few of them, then you can reassure them really well. The first time I've actually seen my mom, because we started the business and I bought this device from Italy. It was very expensive. And I called my mom and said, well, we've done a Skype conference call. And I saw my mom, Mom, what happened to you? I'm so happy. I had eyelid tightening. I had the non-surgical blepharoplasty. And she had a big eye. I said, Mom, are you okay? But the thing is, I've seen it so many times. Now I see it as just nothing. I've had it done it myself. You see myself with big red eyes. Going through the airport, I've had this story, it's amazing. The harshest treatment I've had done, because I had done a number of treatments. The last one was in Poland, because there weren't enough guinea pigs. I said, okay, I'll just do it me. So I said, tell the guys, do it really harsh. I tell you, you do it harsh. Come on, put it at 8, put it at 9. No, go 12. Oh yeah. You actually see the treatment there online. And it was so painful, God. And there was this and they made so many jokes about me. I mean, after an hour, I started swelling. I said, oh, well, okay, I've had it before. And then I realized I couldn't sleep at night. Well, wow. It was really, really harsh because I had it done twice before. It wasn't that bad. I couldn't open my eyes the following morning. You can see the video. I've documented it all. It's just been published. I find it so funny. And then I was in Poland. So the second day, or the following day, because I was so smart, I said, yeah, I'm traveling tomorrow, so I don't have to meet anyone. So in the evening, I had the flight in the evening, so I couldn't open my eyes in the morning. I said, okay, I'm just lying in bed. And then I went to the airport with big swollen eyes. Because being very shy as I am, I think, I wonder what's going to happen if I start talking to people with this swollen eyes. See what the reaction is. So in the queue, I started talking to people, and I remember their eyes. Don't worry, it's just I have been in a fight. So. The funniest of the funny was me going through the passport control, and it was a lady, very nice, polished and beautiful, just looking at the passport. Do you have another document? Seriously, she asked for another document. I had the, what do you call it, my driving license. So she looked at the driving license, oh, well, okay, just let you go, I'll let you off this time. So this is what happens, and people get, I mean, obviously, you get swollen eyes, it's not very pretty, it's quite painful at times, but one of the good things is the pain only lasts in the region of 24 hours. Swelling lasts longer, and so on. But there's so many stories about these things. I've seen so much. And also, when you start getting experience with these treatments, if you get any more, because then you know so much that you can actually tell your customers about that really well, so they don't get worried when they get big swollen eyes. So that you don't even get a phone call because they're very well prepared through consent form. You told them and so on, so it's not a problem. If they don't know, they get worried. Please.
If us South Africans, we like to take medication, so if they are allowed to, we may not prescribe, but if they are allowed to, can we then say they may take something like an antihistamine or
Antihistamines are.
inflammatory or something for the swelling?
There's not. Antihistamines is. Look, I'm not a medical doctor, but I've had this question before. It's used for against allergic reactions. We don't have any allergic reactions. We have the swelling due to the burn.
And the anti-inflammatory?
It's not necessary, especially what we. Premier has got products ad hoc for that. We say, if you're not sure, use nothing. But we have developed a few products for that. But it's not just only, we have to make money. Premier has to make money for it, for instance. But it's not just to make money. It's because really the products have got to be sterile. That is very, very important. They've got to be made ad hoc and sterile. There's a number of products. You may not need to buy our product or Premier's, whatever. Well, please do. But what I'm saying is there's products out there made for laser treatments or these type of treatments that are made ad hoc because they are sterile. After laser treatments, which is actually compared, we can compare almost like for like, you've got to use sterile products because the area can get infections. You're dealing with a skin that has been just burnt. So there's no need for it. The problem is if the customer goes on his own or her own, they may use their own products and that can cause delays. Please.
People in South Africa take
Arnica. As long as it is sterile.
Yeah. But they drink it.
They drink it, yes, they can drink it, yes. As long as, no, don't need medication, yes, Arnica, yes.
An anti-inflammatory shouldn't do any harm. It's just for, it's a medication.
If it's medication, you can, but it's not as if the person is ill.
Yeah.
It's a normal burn.
We did a training session, for example, and Tanya's got she knows, she's got a very sensitive skin and she swells very easily. Nobody else swelled, but her face was up like a balloon. You know?
So my husband really used it because everybody asked me how to beat them up. I couldn't see out of my eyes. Honestly, my eyes were swollen closed for 2
Yes.
days.
For 2 days.
For 2 days.
Only 1 day in my case. Yeah.
And then is after, like the client, for example, if the client is smoker, you know, that's what I worry about. They go out there, you've just opened up her skin and now she's having a cigarette and the nicotine's blowing in her face, or even her husband smokes, is that a problem? Her environment.
Yeah, it could be. Well, I was a smoker before at the time when I had my treatments. My mom is a smoker. Many people are smokers and did have the treatment done. We haven't had any reports of that. But obviously, if you don't smoke, it's better.
Well, I did a medical knee anesthesia and the girl straight away went outside and smoked. And 2 days later, she sent me a photo and it actually looked like I took an iron and I burnt her around the mouth like this.
Yes.
And it was purely because of the cigarette she had.
Don't smoke. Don't smoke. Okay. Bad. No joints. No joints.
So let me just tell you, chatting to Andreas, he said we had a look at what we had, and meaning sterile, sealed.
Yes.
He says, this is not sterile. The minute you can open it up, he says, this is sterile. So manufacturers know when a product has to be sterile, their packaging will be accordingly. So anything that you open up, a jar, that's not something
And you
sterile.
put your finger in it.
Yeah, obviously, but you don't, even if you've opened it up, it's now not sterile anymore. The bacteria's just gone into that jar. So you can't take a big jar of something and keep using that. It's not sterile. Sterile means sealed. Okay. This is the vitamin A and D, the Figura, and he says, perfect. Okay. This is bacitracin, which is antibiotic. We normally, after permanent cosmetics, for 2 days, because we know that is the period that a client can get infection until the skin seals over. We normally give this to our client, ask you to apply 3 times a day, and only for 2 days. On the 3rd day, she must go over to vitamin A and D or whatever, because you don't need too much of this. It could cause a retinoid reaction. It only needs it for the first 2 days to keep this infection from going in. So just to tell you, but all I'm saying, this, Andreas said, yes, thank you, sterile. Yes, thank you, sterile. He talks sterile, he talks the sealed, and give it to the client, okay? And she's not going to take something she opens up and does that with, then she's going to pick up infections.
So so if your clients go to the pharmacy on their own, no good. Because the chemist doesn't really know what's happened. They don't really know. In reality, if they go to the doctors, their doctors even, they may not know how to treat the area. It's actually the sad reality of it. So make sure before you start doing treatments on people, you have the right aftercare products. And it's even better if you actually hand them to your clients. It's even better because they don't, because it's almost impossible to avoid people to try to treat a burn, especially on the eyelids or somewhere else. People want to try and recover as quickly as possible, try to put something on. After doing so many treatments, countless, get it all the time. Can I please put this? Can I please put that? But it's common. So if you have products beforehand that you can hand over to your clients, is even better, much better. So you don't know that you know that they're going to do the right thing. And if not, just give them an aftercare protocol. Again, we have it. There's many ways to go around it, but the best thing is just give them products yourself if you can. Otherwise, write a list of products that you've tested, you know they're sterile, you've actually spoke to the manufacturer, whatever you want to do. And they are suitable. Laser clinics are very good at it because laser clinics normally have a range of products that are sterile and ad hoc. Laser clinics and products for lasers have been out for so long, so there's a number of products for lasers. Normally, if you're in doubt, also look at this laser products because they're normally also good for plasma treatment. So make sure you give a good aftercare advice and something in writing that people can refer to. It's not just for a legal point of view, it's actually a practical point of view, practical problem that you're resolving. You're actually getting loads of problems ahead that you don't need to deal with anyway, just by putting that in place. The aftercare protocol in place, giving the right products if you want to do so. Okay. So when you do, then in terms of antiseptics, don't use alcohol, it's too harsh. Even when you do the treatment, never use alcohol. The best antiseptic has benzalkonium chloride. This is why we say Dettol. Dettol has got that ingredient. Not all Dettol, you buy any Dettol and that does the job because the benzalkonium chloride has got to have a certain concentration. In certain countries there are Dettol for skin applications, skin and wounds applications. So you buy that if available in South Africa, please.
Can you use the green Dettol as well? The new green Dettol?
I don't know that green Dettol. I don't. But normally says if it's suitable for wound care.
It's just a bit more soothing on the skin.
You can use that as well.
The same brand.
Ingredients.
Same brand.
As long as it's
Okay.
not that particular ingredient, that's
Either the ingredient, we say Dettol is because it's available worldwide. So Canada, US, Asia, everywhere, we find it everywhere. This is why we use that name. But the point is benzalkonium chloride. If some doctors, please.
Just with the use of flammable alcohol-based antiseptics, it says can at night during the treatment in electric arc. I mean, if you surely you can use that at home. I don't understand. Like,
No. In fact, it's just I haven't actually done this presentation myself. Some people have actually. I haven't even looked at this presentation before. So sorry, is that a mistake? It's a mistake. Because this is something that's been taken from our website. One of the things that we say, don't use alcohol because it can ignite and you have the customer on fire. No, alcohol is not good because it's too aggressive. It's too aggressive. Beta-alkaline chloride has got good bactericidal, right? It kills bacteria really well, but it's not as aggressive on the skin. This is what you want. Alcohol is very aggressive. And you put it on your eyes, alcohol on your eyes. Oh, yeah.
It's even aggressive. It's even aggressive if you try it on your face.
So, going back. This is again, we just said that it's very important that we have it in these products. If the manufacturer says it's sterile, you can actually have it this way. You can have a look at it later. You can have it in jars. You shouldn't have it either in this way because it can be contaminated. But normally, products that are suitable for this are made in a sterile fashion. So this is why we put that picture in there. So this, if you see it that way, avoid it. So if infections are contracted soon after the treatment, they could increase the likelihood of scarring. And this is true. It's happened, but only very rarely. Picking the scabs can cause scars and especially hypopigmentation and skin tightening. There are two problems that we found because in skin tightening using the sport modes, what you'll find is when you have the scabs, the area is itchy, so you tend to try and scratch it. It's a bad thing, and also if you use certain makeup products, and also again try to avoid makeup products during the short-term healing. You can use it as long as it is sterile. Again, ad hoc products. Some people manufacture foundations for after laser treatments, foundations and this sort of things. So make sure whatever you use is sterile. It's very, very important because if you don't, although there may not be any problems in terms of infections as such, you can get hypopigmentation. There's good news about hypopigmentation. It goes away. My first treatment, I had it, and it went away. You can actually see the dots for a few months where they had been placed. But the good thing is, they disappeared on my face. But every time we had reports of hypopigmentation, as to say, you can still see these dots a few weeks or sometimes months after. If you just leave it alone, you're protecting yourself from the sun and UV light, it goes away. So far, it's all gone away. So this is a problem that is a non-problem. Basically, it's going to go away.
Can I interrupt again? That is why the group can be a negative thing, because a girl could have a treatment of either one of us, and I think it can happen, we're glad for that. Her face hyperpigmented. You know how many girls, I don't want to get past many people, thank you, I'm not going down this road. I'm not going to expose my client to hyperpigmentation. Judy Platzman, I gave her hyperpigmentation, no worries, I'm out of here. So they just want to get up, because one of our girls hyperpigmented. So it's so nice to hear, she'll come right, she's going to come right, but we all just take the immediate, we react immediately, and we just because we have knowledge. So that's fabulous.
It's also very natural because we're also very new at all of this placement thing, so it's nice to have an expert. We feel better that it's not a problem.
Okay.
What I would just like to add is that unfortunately, a lot of people are selling an unrealistic turnaround time. They're not telling the clients, you need 3 months to heal, minimum.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where the biggest problem comes, is they're selling unrealistic
If the
expectations.
client doesn't look like her eyes have lifted after 2 weeks,
Then she's unhappy.
well, why hasn't it done anything?
Exactly. If I'm walking around with little white spots, why hasn't it normalized? And I hate to say it keeps on going back to the therapist or the practitioner. They are not informing their clients you're an individual, your skin might be a little bit more compromised than, well, mine could be more compromised than Heather's. I might take longer to heal than you. I might not be as good at sticking to my after skin routine or after procedure routine, whereas you would be. And that's going to affect how quickly you heal and how quickly the skin rectifies.
Sure. We still want to
And age.
Okay, can I add something to that? It's very, very important because you'll find all across the board, people say, even writing down, treatments may be repeated after 4 weeks or a month. It's actually, after seeing so many treatments, it's not a good idea. So avoid that. And even after 3 months, ask the question, how does your skin feel? Is it a bit tender? Is it still red? Have a look at the skin. Is it red? Because you actually feel it for a lot. If you had this treatment done, you do feel it. This is why I had it done a number of times, because at least I know. I've seen so many people, well, I have done it to so many people. I've seen people come to us for advice after they have been treated with other devices by other companies. They come to us for advice as well. So we've seen many. So the reason for doing it after a month, repeating the treatments a month after is so that you can make more money. That is the reason. That's the financial motivation. So, but we're talking about a clinical point of view. It ain't a good idea. Okay, so please.
My question is, if you're working with Fitzpatrick for that kind of darkest complexion, is your hyperpigmentation higher?
So far, no. Someone else can give me some help. So far, I haven't actually had any feedback about more hyperpigmentation on darker skin types, 3, 4.
Other skin. Like clean skin, this dark skin.
Sorry? Hyperpigmentation? Yes. When did you get the treatment done?
About 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
On your stuff.
Yes.
But I've got that kind of skin. It's a
Mm-hmm. So.
A brightening skin. Yeah, we've got brightening it's just been launched, so you guys must.
But there must be a risk of the It must be a hyperpigmentation risk.
Sorry, can you ask the question?
If you are incurring a burn,
Yes. Yes.
it must be a hyperpigmentation risk of darker skin, Fitzpatrick skin.
Sorry, just please go again. A bit.
So, if you have a darker Fitzpatrick skin
Yes.
and you're incurring a burn,
Uh-huh.
then the skin's response naturally would be to produce more pigment.
So far, we have treated up to 6, the really dark ones. Can darker than that, go darker than that. But from my experience, after treating so many people, even 4, type 3, 4, and 5, we haven't had hyperpigmentation. That it was statistically more predominant on darker skin type. This is what I'm trying to say. It's from experience. Someone else can.
The burn is in the epidermis, epidermis. It's not any deeper than that. Right?
Please.
I can maybe just add my experience onto the hyperpigmentation. I had my nasolabial line done as well and my chin. So afterwards, there were a couple of spots for about a day or 2, and then it went away. Then I became sick and I actually ended up in hospital and they were back. So I think it's got a lot to do with one's immune system as well. And now I'm better, so they're gone again. So I think one should keep that in mind as well. When your immune system is down, the hyperpigmentation can come up, but it goes away again. So that was my experience.
Oh, that's good to know. I never actually. Yeah, that's good to know.
So if someone, let's say you do, for argument's sake, you said you had a little bit of hyperpigmentation for a while, but in the end it fades away by itself and it heals and whatever.
So in that meanwhile, let's say a client needs to walk for a few months with a little bit of hyperpigmentation. We can see that visible dots, let's say around the eye area or so. Would you advise us to use a product in the meanwhile just to actually, how can I say, lighten it a little bit or to speed the process for her to get rid of the pigmentation?
You can help me here, but what we advise is to use total sunscreen. After this, total sunscreen, physical sunscreen, total sunscreen. And then if the hyperpigmentation is still there, then you can use brightening products.
We have got skin whitening cream now.
Yes,
By
you can.
Wesson for us. Yeah.
No, Haley's going to be a test study for us because Haley's got pigmentation now.
Uh-huh.
So we're going to use you as a case study because we want to see now how your skin's going to
Sorry, with regards to the dental, I've got a friend that's a doctor, so I asked her what her opinion is of cleaning with dental. And she replied, she said, the dental in South Africa will burn the skin. So it's a bit harsh, and she would advise something like a pH balancing spray, not on a cotton. And then after that, maybe we'll still be called treatment to continue that. She says the dental that we get in South Africa is, but she says it burns.
It depends on the. It depends on. It may be. Sorry to interrupt you. It may be that the one for skin care for the skin wound is not made. It's not actually sold in South Africa because we saw in a number of countries where Dettol for skin and wounds disinfection is actually sold.
Also, we must remember it's like because you have a burn wound, you don't have a wound that's open and cut. So now you've got a burn wound, and now you add Dettol onto that, and Dettol actually burns, even if it is diluted in hard skin.
What was that at the back?
The instructions on a bottle of Dettol says you have to dilute it. You can't use it. You can't use it. But that is for a cut. Is it for a burn wound that they talk about? That's what she said. It's like, remember, you've got a burn wound. And Dettol is actually for cuts and razors. You know, when you brace and it's when your skin blood. So, yeah, for that. So now you sit
I
with a
feel
burn wound.
very comfortable using the bacitracin.
Yeah, that might be better.
It's made for that, for an open skin when we do cosmetics. So bacitracin is an antibiotic. We couldn't put on shoes. Then infection can't set in.
When you get it from this chem, it's called Vacitracin. V-A-C-I. No, sorry, it's called what? Bioscrub.
Yes.
What are you talking about?
It is bacitracin. The client gets given 1 or 2 sachets of bacitracin to use for 2 days.
Maliki an opportunity here. She's actually come up with some very
I've only just seen her hand. We haven't even seen her hand.
Have you ever qualified nurse, so maybe
She's a nursing sister. Yeah,
She's
correct.
actually given a very, very good idea for the lady. I think what we can think of to use is chlorhexidine, a 1 to 10% dilution. Because that we use in the hospitals, it doesn't have a problem to prevent wound healing, and it's sterile. But you have to have it mixed by a chemist so that they can put it
What
in
you
a
mean,
sterile-
Dettol?
No,
No, what was it?
Chlorhexidine.
Chlorhexidine, okay.
Chlorhexidine is a perfect wound cleanser. We use it all over this country to
Yes.
clean wounds, but it needs to be diluted by a pharmacist so that it's in a sterile container, because you need to dilute it with sterile water.
So about the Dettol again, is the benzalkonium chloride that we're looking at. There's a certain concentration. I cannot remember off the top of my head. It is on our website. Certain countries do make Dettol with benzalkonium chloride diluted to the right concentration, where they actually clearly state on the product it is okay to be used for wound cleansing and so on. And it's been used in Italy for a number of years, a good number of years. This is why I'm quite confident about that. But what is very likely, that because I've seen it in many countries, this Dettol that is good for wound healing because of the concentration of benzalkonium chloride is not available. Therefore, it's not a good idea. The reason for using that brand name is because it's the only product I could find worldwide where it's got benzalkonium chloride. So I'd like to clarify. But either this or something that has been prescribed by a doctor, because this benzalkonium chloride not only is in the Dettol that is good for wound cleaning and wound treatment for disinfection on wounds, but also is being prescribed by doctors in Italy and other countries for this sort of treatments for several years. So that's why I'm saying. But it doesn't mean that other products are not good enough, as long as no harsh, very likely that is...
Mariki, did everybody hear what Mariki said, the name? Can you just spell it
Yes.
for us, Mariki?
Let me write it down.
CHLOARA. Sorry, let me start over. CHLORAHEXADINE. Chlorhexidine.
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 Chlorhexidine. Chlorhexidine. And you have to ask the chemist to mix it for you. You can't get it on the shelf.
They have the sterile one that's actually mixed with alcohol on the shelf. But you need the plain chlorhexidine mixed with 1 to 10 sterile one to be used for people.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful.
And maybe would it be a better idea to mix it in a spray bottle?
Very good. If your bottle is sterile, yes.
So was another question, I think?
No, that's it.
Okay,
Get on.
good.
Move it, baby, move it.
So no makeup. No makeup because makeup is non-sterile. So even if you've got, the clients would like to appear more beautiful immediately, it's not a good idea to use makeup because again, it's not sterile. We've seen a number of times over and over again when people use cover-up makeup, the hypopigmentation problems arose when they should have already been scabbed. I mean, all the scabs formed, they weren't formed yet, so delayed healing and problems related to that. So wearing camouflage makeup is good. However, you've got to make sure that the makeup is sterile. That is key. Again, use ad hoc products that you can find on the market, especially if they're good for CO2 lasers or laser treatments after laser treatments.
And for how long they'll definitely last? Do they not really make it?
As long as the scabs are still forming, as soon as the scabs are formed, are fully formed, they can use makeup. Because the problem is try to make sure that the short-term healing is sorted out. By the way, how long do we have? Do we have the afternoon as well? Oh, good. So good. Any questions at all? Oh yes. By the way, I just wanted to move on at this particular point. We're trying to we're listening to what people the problems that people have doing these treatments. And one of the problems is the consent forms. One of the problems that people have is they don't have the right consent forms. We have put consent forms on beautytech.com website, which anyone can access. But also we've done something different. Anyone, even if you do nothing with us, you don't have to pay us anything. You can go onto this this place here, and if you want, you can use our own electronic consent form, where you can put your own company name, if you're using a company, your name, the beauty therapist, and also the client's email address. If I can actually show you quite shortly later on in the afternoon how that works. But then basically the advantage of doing it this way is that you have something that's been developed over years, because as we got problems coming our way, then we included it in the consent form. So we kept changing our consent forms over and over and over and over again, looking at the problems that we got, and we included all the options in terms of what to look for in our consent form, so you don't have to say, double guess or anything. So you can do that if you wish to do so. And also, we're working in order to get an automated system so that so basically you have to ask your client not only for the signature but also for the email. the client should receive an automated email every day asking them to send, sorry to be selfish, us, their pictures, because so that we could possibly use it for our own purposes, our dirty purposes of doing the case studies, which we like, and building evidence in there. But also it gives the client peace of mind, saying that somebody's monitoring what was going on. So this actually is an automated system that asks the client to send pictures up until 10 days, then 2 weeks, after 2 weeks, then after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, then after 2 months, and after 3 months, because we've got the long-term healing. The area keeps changing up until normally 2 to 3 months, depending on how the treatment was carried out, even longer than that. Please.
Blood thinning medication.
Sorry?
Blood thinning medication.
We say in the consent form that they shouldn't be on blood thinners.
So is that contraindicated?
That's a contraindication, but basically we have, if you look at everything in the consent form, nobody should actually do these treatments. You go read them. You go read them. And then I think somewhere it said, well, if you want, you can still do it, you do it on your own risk. Basically, we put everything and anything. And also, if we got some other feedback from other interesting reactions, then we put it there as well. And the good thing about it is that after that, we do treatments. We don't get people worried. We don't get anyone upset about anything, because everything was covered anyway. And they're very well informed. Any other questions?
I also have, with the Permanent Cosmetic World, we have a consent form that the very first time I read it, I was saying that, I said, oh my goodness, Sandy, is anybody ever going to sign this thing? Are we ever going to do Permanent Cosmetics? And she said, the very fact that you give them that, and you exaggerate all the risks and minimize the benefits, we wouldn't like anybody else to touch them but you. And we know we were going for a stupid little operation in tonsil, there was some silly operation. The consent form says you can down the operation theatre. Does that stop us going into the operation? No. They have to exaggerate the risk. There's $1 in a million on that operating table. So it doesn't mean blood thinners we can't do them, but we're going to warn them because you could be that one that reacted because you want blood thinners. We told you, you said it's okay, but you go ahead.
Do you know which one is very bad? Is the omega-3s. I've done clients that have been on omega-3s, and you should have seen what they look like afterwards.
And what did they look like?
Bruising.
And the bruising went away.
Yes, but I'm just saying.
It's better if they're not on omega.
So tell the client, get it
That's
off the
interesting.
water.
Omega-3
Or
oil.
I'll show you some pictures.
But what I'm saying is that all these things,
They were
in the end, just heal out. They do heal out.
And it can actually rather get linked to better doctors.
Better they come off the completely.
No, I'll show you a picture.
Okay, any questions?
They'll keep you going all day on questions. Let's stop.
No.
You've got so
No, it's fine. Any questions, anything? Doubts? Nothing? All clear? Okay, good.